We return, and it is time again for Disco Elysium. Last time we pretty much finished the church and Phasmid side quests, but there are a few loose ends to tie up before we finally hit the Feld building. I did handle some things off camera. I confronted Kuno and told him I was keeping his meth stash. Basically just rehashed the split between him and Kuno S. But there was an interesting esprit de corps check that implied it matters if he trusts you. I can only imagine why. Maybe he somehow does something during the tribunal? I don't know, that seems unlikely. I left off back in the Doom commercial area, but first I'll explain that I agreed to help Egghead by finding a tape to add to the music. They suggested asking around the canal. Sealing, maybe. We also need to finish up with Lena, and just to be thorough, I bought cigarettes from Rosemary. I figured it's a quest, it's XP, we might need to level up even if they do damage your health. But it brought us here for a reason. I did say I'd show what was on the radio computer. There are a couple items of interest about it, and one not-so-little joke that I liked. Yvonne, hello again. It's us, two guys with legit reasons for poking around private property. As I said last episode, the same password from the church works here. Kim is heartbroken by their poor password security. This gives us access to the production schedule, which we'll print out shortly. I want to reiterate that we can only do this because we've already been to the church. Keep that in mind. So this document has information about the company and the project. It doubles as both world building and none too subtle commentary on the games industry, talking about how costs ballooned as delays mounted. Suffice to say, their investor was not pleased with the results of their spending. While Suna is good at what she does, the team wasn't very well managed. The lone producer was badly overworked and started popping pills to cope with it. Logic raises the question of why a radio game needed so many artists. Quite frankly, it didn't, but a few extra producers might have been able to corral the writing team. Or at least stop one of them from stealing from the company and making a run for it. There's a bit of a contradiction coming up, though. It outright says the project was doomed to fail here, burdened by rising development costs, mismanagement, and excessive ambition. A 4 million real game with a fraction of the budget. Something was going to sink this. But then here it says success remained possible, if unlikely, at least until something called the Valley of the Heads. I think they mean this feature proved to be the final nail in the coffin, and you'll see why shortly. Suna mentioned a Sulislaw, and this was apparently his idea. A secret location that would give you a choice of heads for your headless party member, complete with a voice actor. 10,000 heads for 10,000 headless bodies is an absolutely insane number of combinations for a radio-based RPG. And if you don't have a calculator handy, pause the video and get some popcorn. Here we fucking go! Oh, buckle up, folks. We're just getting started. We have fucked up now. We dug too deep in pursuit of forbidden knowledge, and now we suffer for it. Kim's getting impatient. Bro wants his daily cigarette, and frankly I can relate right now. Just like in the church, we are at the mercy of the sheer power of math. Oh, there ain't no getting off this train we're on, friend. This number keeps on going and going and going. I can feel the warp overtaking me! It is a good pet! Oh, stop. Finally. Sorry. Where were we? Right, the anomaly. It's mostly defined by the hole it left in the data. The error occurred right when the game was being compiled, which caused the data to get lost in transmission. The project was effectively erased, and the service provider couldn't explain what had happened, or cover the loss. The off-site copy, which we brought to Suna, was in fact on-site when this happened. I'm still not clear how it was affected, unless it was also plugged in at some point, or just having it in the building was a problem. A note from Suna explains that there was nowhere off-site to actually bring it, not after a long stretch of crunch time. But here's the really curious tidbit. This note at the end documents Suna's attempts to find the anomaly, what we now know as the Pale. Other businesses were going under, and she worked with the provider to track this thing down. We get an address, St. Brune 1147, and reaction speed recognizes it as the church. It's not acknowledging that we've done all this already, which makes me wonder if there's a way to get the password before going there. Maybe a conceptualization check or something lets me figure it out from the notes here. Well, that's all I wanted to show here. I did check in with Nia, the dice maker, and discovering the Pale in the church gave that Shivers check a bonus. I was able to crack it, and it just reveals that the chimney used to be part of a different building, letting you argue that the curse spared her on a technicality. She counters by talking a bit more about her old business, why it failed, and how success is promised to no one, and then unlocked a precarious world thought. Interesting conversation, reveals more about who she is and what she believes in, and she definitely doesn't believe in any curse. Right now, though, we go back one more time to the Whirling to settle this Phasmid quest for good. Hey, Lena. Trap's baited again. We're good to go.
Hello, dear. It's good to see a familiar face.
Morale left to go rest up. Empathy picks up a weariness. Something has changed in her. Well, with Morel sick and Gary complaining, guess who it'll come down to one more time. Or maybe not. She tells us not to bother. Volition can sense it too. It's like she's given up on the Phasmid. There is something she hasn't told anyone else. Something she might not tell us if we weren't authority figures. Composure sees her differently, smaller, sadder. She's doubting herself, thinking of her story of the Phasmid as just that, a story. There's a deep regret at the core of this behavior. Morel was eager to believe her story, and that bolstered her belief as well. Made her feel special, like a queen. But they're both older now. She sees him working himself sick looking for this thing. Kim has trouble with stuff like this. A suggestion check with good odds gets us to the heart of it. She's afraid her marriage is based on a lie. But the tree is more than the acorn. And it's obvious at a glance their relationship is more than the Phasmid. She's afraid she's been holding him back, steered him away from something greater. But Encyclopedia's got a nice counter. A theory that love is something greater, a way we live on. And here's the other layer to her worries. The fear that without her story, she's just some poor girl in a wheelchair. Someone to be pitied, not loved. I try to reassure her, and maybe it helps, but this isn't getting resolved with just a speech check. Doubts about such things aren't easy to quench. Nobody but the two of them can do so. Inland Empire can imagine it the way she sees it. Not the story she tells, but the way it is in her mind. Sadly, it's about time for her to get going. Her wheelchair is motorized, and she can get to Gary's just fine. She's grateful for the help, even if it turned out to be a snipe hunt. She mouths the words, "A fool's hope." Take care, Lena. Thank you. Yeah, let's head out. Shivers points to the Feld building. It's almost time. We've got a few skill points saved up, but this late in the game we can expect some difficult checks coming up. I mentioned that quest I picked up from Egghead. He wants me to keep an eye out for any tapes that can mix into the track. They mentioned checking around the canal, and specifically Sealang, the guy selling stuff out of his truck. No harm in asking, and I've got a theory that this might help with passing the skill checks with Andre and Estelle.
Everything's still cool here, officer.
Sealang, long time no side quest. Got any music for sale? He doesn't, but he insists they're everywhere. Literally tossed into the trees, including one close by. Yeah, I'm sure nobody ever throws out your cheap knockoffs. Come on, Kim, let's go have a look. What's all this now? Huh, someone did throw a tape up here. Strung it up almost like they were decorating. Giving the tree a friendly pat lets us take a closer look. In visual calculus can start to see where the tape begins and ends. That does help us, but we can bump those odds up further, with a little help from the brothers Fairweather. I still don't understand how armored gauntlets make our fingers more nimble, but I'm certainly not going to complain. Yeet. Let's get this stuff down. Now, a bundle of tape in our pockets doesn't do us much good. We need a way to re-spool it. Logic, and eventually Kim, make the same suggestion. Roy from the pawn shop sold us a tape player, and may be able to work something out. Might as well check, it's right across the street. Thanks for the tip, Sealang. Good luck selling it. Wait, hold on. Is Sealang just selling with the vowel switched around and the spelling changed a bit? It is, isn't it? Someone thought that up 5 minutes before lunch because they were in a rush. I see what you did there. Roy man, how's it going?
Hello. Let me know if I can help you with anything.
How are you with respooling a tape? He's got the skills for the job, but he needs a good reason for it. I'd say trying to build a dance club / science lab around a patch of unreality is a good reason, wouldn't you? I'm gonna level with you, Roy. We have a serious funk deficit in our hands here, and it needs an immediate stimulus of bass. A redistribution of rhythm, if you will. A little bit of tinkering and our man comes through. Thanks, Roy. Don't you worry, we keep it positive at Disco Elysium. I mean, the stained glass mural of Dolores Day is a bit contentious, but positive aside from that. Sadly, this thing doesn't fit on our boombox, so there's no telling what's on it. This could all be a considerable waste of time, we don't have a lot of options here. But hey, in the words of Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China, said about shooting the beholder in Lopan's Fortress, you don't know till you try. I haven't seen that in a while. That's a great movie, I should watch that again. And fitting, considering our white protagonist is well-meaning and sometimes genuinely good at what he does, but also well in over his head and routinely taken down a peg, while his Asian partner is technically the sidekick, but secretly the one that actually knows what he's doing. But enough rambling. The future of dance awaits us. And from this, we shall gain the secrets needed to complete this investigation. I am a rational human being pursuing rational goals, not some disco burnout seeking one last moment of glory before he gets shot dead by a bunch of pissed-off mercenaries. Kim, we made poor life decisions along the way, haven't we? Yeah, see, that bubble only appears if we've gotten into the production schedule, but we had to come here to get the password. There must be some way to unlock it earlier. Egghead, buddy, we got something for you.
Good morning! Yeah! Hardcore!
I mean, it's almost 4:30, but whatever. Here, try this tape I found in a tree. Strangely, he likes it. And not just likes, he seems to think we've got something here. The rearranger goes to work. Not bad, actually. The timing on the rhythm fits the original track well. Eerily well. I mean, the man's got a gift, but it is uncanny. Andre thinks it might have been something Van Eyck himself used as a bass, while Lascelles thinks it's a song of his that he never finished, a big-name artist that just happens to be a local. Noid's more practical, just a weird coincidence in Egghead's skill. The skills can't agree, but it is quite the coincidence. Well, whatever. It's harder core now, and that's what counts. But we still need to improve the bass. And I think we've got an idea for that, using the very sound Suna recorded from the experiment. Andre did say they can make use of it, and Logic has an idea of using his compressor to set the tracks up in parallel. Unfortunately, explaining that is a very difficult interfacing check. We can do this, but we'll need to spend those points we've been hoarding. The thought we got from that, Arno Van Eyck, does give us an interfacing bonus, but we'd spend a skill point anyway, and it's only temporary. Interestingly, it suggests that Egghead might be Van Eyck in disguise, although I wouldn't bet on it. As you can see, we've basically got 3 shots at this. Let's take a whack at it. We'll level the skill up one at a time, put the gauntlets on, and hope we can get lucky before we run out of skill points. These things are proving to be a really good pickup.
Good morning! Yeah! Harder core!
Alright, first try. Damn. Strike 1. No problem, we'll back out and try again. Now here's a quick something I learned off camera. You can actually assign skill points and use health drugs without leaving dialogue. As you'll see in a moment, that doesn't unlock the choice until we do leave dialogue, but it's a good way to prepare yourself for a red check if you don't like the odds. I think you might even be able to drink or smoke in conversation. I need to try that.
Yeah! Harder core!
Round 2, let's go! Now we're talking. Interface tells us to sidechain the beat, which means basically running the tracks side by side using Andre's compressor to control the gain for each. This keeps either from peaking or drowning the other out entirely. Egg picks up the concept quickly. If he doesn't do this for a living, he easily could. He starts freaking out. Think we've got a winner here. Oh, just watch. And more importantly, listen. Brace yourself, gang. This one's gonna tell that sound hole to go fuck itself. Punch it, Egg. We have taken the repetitive and we have made it stand out. We have reached into entropy itself, pulled sound from it, and made it ours. I don't even care that this has nothing to do with a murder mystery. This is the coolest fucking thing we've done in this game. You did good, Egg. You too, Suna. Right, with the beat now as hardcore as it's gonna get, let's take a look at those skill checks one more time.
Welcome back.
Bah, so much for that theory. Not ready to try that yet. Maybe Andre's will be improved.
Oh, hey man, it's good to see you.
Now that's more like it. We're almost ready to give this man a hypnosis infusion. Let's see what we've got. Our shoes do give us a bonus to composure, and so, I find out, does our windbreaker. Every point helps. But that's about it. I searched the rest, but don't find anything else that'll work. I'm a little surprised it's composure and not savoir-faire, but I suppose dancing is more about style than coordination, at least by the game's logic. I should really know these by heart by now. Okay, here we go.
Oh, hey man, it's good to see you.
83 is worth the risk. Let's lose ourselves to dance. Yeah, see, savoir-faire shows up immediately. I think that might be mislabeled. Anyway...
Total darkness.
You sink down the darkest fathoms of your own personal deep, vertebrate by vertebrate, through the unformed skulls of your mind. Here it will begin. Who fucking cares? God? Where is your God? Oh, don't worry. The music's still there. It's you who is gone. Nothing. Just the immaculate silence of your spinal fluid. Electrified.
Psst. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Every vertebrae in your spine is an unformed skull ready to pop up and replace the old one. Like shark teeth. The one you're currently in has a little brain forming in it, waiting for its turn to rule the world. Yes, it's all true. In the spinal cord.
From what I can see, it's about to bust a move.
Foolhardy! Do you even know what's happening on the surface? Maybe 1,000 years have passed. Or maybe you started spazzing out like 2 seconds ago.
Endurance brings us back to the waking world. Somehow, in this moment, we start to heal. Electrochemistry's on board. Let's fucking do this. Oh shit, he is going for it. He looks insane and he does not give one half of a damn. It's coming right from the gut. All execution. Dancing isn't really about how you look. It's about how you feel. And right now, our man Hobocop feels very, very alive. Yeah, they're all getting into it now. Like Kim said, dancing spreads like a yawn. Asal, get in on this. Of all people, Suna asks if she's joining in. She's sitting this one out, sadly, and Suna doesn't look like she's ready to join either. But you don't have to be on the dance floor to feel it, and Suna is feeling it. Andre, dance cop, show me some real moves. Okay, well, you're moving your arms. That's a start. We'll work on that. Oh, we gotta get Kim in on this. Kim! Dance cops requesting backup on the dance floor. Delinquent spotted. Guilty of not dancing. Quietly exasperated as usual, but we're not giving up that easy. God is my witness, I am not leaving this club until this man busts a move. Only one shot at this. Authority, this is your time to shine. Hell yeah. Lieutenant, what part of dance officer needs backup did you not understand? I know Fun Kim is in there somewhere, and I'm only asking for him one more time. Get your goddamn groove on. Oh shit, this is gonna be good. Look at him, he's getting ready, he's popping his collar. He's gonna do it, folks. Fun Kim is coming out. Show me what you got, bitch. There it is. That's why he's so pissed off about these kids. He used to be a juvie cop. Well, not anymore. You are a dance officer of the law and you are, I don't know, doing the robot or some shit. Doesn't even matter. Ain't about how dumb you feel or how old you are or how much the world fucking sucks right now. All that matters is this. Are you having a good time or not? Ah, damn it, that threw him off. Well, whatever, we proved our point. And I think we can make this a little more hardcore if we try. That Shivers check is formidable, but with the team on board, we can totally do this. Last skill point in the bank, let's make it count. 83 is the magic number tonight. Can we do it one more time? Yes! We are one with the rhythm. And everything's going dark again. Now what? The cold again. What is going on here? What? The city is talking to me. The city is talking to me. It sees me. It saw me with her, and without her. What is happening right now? The combined matter and sensory input of the city is talking to me. And it knows who I am and what I'm tasked with doing, where I go and who I meet with. It's asking for help, and confessing to me. Holy shit. It was Revachol. Kim, I danced so hard I spoke to the city. The whole city is this game's best girl. Has been all along. I think I'm engaged to them now. No time to explain. Okay, I don't have the words for what just happened right now. Either we had a psychotic fit and passed out, or we are now in tune with the entire city, which is a conscious being that loves us. And I can't be sure it's not the latter. Anything could be real right now. I don't even know. Andre, your people are onto something here. Spread the good word. Right, this game got wild in the last few minutes. Everything about that quest was incredible. Let's see if that finally improved our odds with a cell. God damn it. Well, probably not gonna be back here after this. Might as well try and... Are you fucking for real? Holy shit, that was like a 1 in 6 chance, maybe. Dance Cop is the luckiest son of a bitch in the world tonight. So yeah, we catch the term Silver Bird and its Gradian phrasing. She recognizes it. It's what the community in Revachol calls someone who won't crack in an interrogation. Turns out Asel's father was a mobster, and a rather successful and brutal one. When he died, probably suddenly, the competition took everything. Her and her mother had to basically go into hiding, put it behind them. The drug lab was actually her idea, a stupid one, she says. She didn't go into this half-cocked, she actually got permission from Everard and the dock workers. It's a lot more thorough than I was expecting given their setup. But she's actually glad we stopped it, saw herself turning into her old man. We can confront Everard about this, but that hasn't gotten us anywhere before, and I doubt it will now. Plausible deniability and all. Well, thanks for telling us to sell. Keep a hand on that mic, alright? Well then, we are at last completely done with the church, and with just about every side quest I've got, except for one. As I said earlier, off camera I bought cigarettes from Rosemary. They're actually cheaper with him than the Fritz store. I've been told finding Ruby is a point of no return, so we might as well buff up for it and check that quest off while we're at it. And like with the alcohol, electrochemistry perks right up. Soothing our nicotine addiction gives us a wits bonus, but obviously is very bad for our health. Amusingly, falling back on old habits passes enough time to finish the cleaning out the rooms thought. We'll get to that in a second. I'm surprised we have a lighter the game doesn't seem to track, it's just with the cigarettes. Logic explains that this will help us concentrate, while volition reminds us why that's the case. Blah blah blah, boring. You know what, I agree this time. Our man just communed with the entire city, I think he's earned a smoke. And that levels us up. Awesome. Hobocop, you are killing it this episode, my dude. I'm still stuck on that Shivers moment, by the way. This game is amazing. Alright, what's this thought giving us? It asks what if we didn't lose our memory, just packed it up, kept what matters, started to toss the rest. Some nice bonuses from it. Of course, that suggestion would have been helpful with Lena, but what can you do? Now we're done. We're ready to move on at last. Let's get to that fell building. And Kim, I just want to say, I'm proud of you, partner. You're the opposite of a loose cannon, but god damn it, you're a good dance cop. Alright, we're here at last. And after all that work, the check is practically guaranteed. So what does that mean? It's quite possible the game cheats in our favor to give 6s there, now that we've done everything we can. We hear something, feel something from the Feld building, from its basement. She's down there. She has to be. See, the structure of this part of the game kind of breaks down for me. We've looked everywhere topside, and searching these buildings is the next logical course of action, but we have to pass the Shivers check to do so, and that only gets boosted through a bunch of tangentially related side quests. Anyway, we need a way in, and that ladder doesn't look very safe. Let's ask this guy quick.
Hello again.
Alright, Mr. Very Definitely Not a Cop, talk to me. How would you go about getting inside? And he tells me about some means of climbing using sticks. I tell him that's not very helpful, and he goes on about some ancient civilization climbing into enemy huts. In hindsight, I'm not sure why I thought this doofus would know something useful and not just spout a bunch of history trivia. Might as well just climb it or check the pipe out. Jesus, hell, I'd rather talk to Kuno. He might at least know if there's a side door or something. He just points to the pipe. You could have started with that, buddy. This thing has seen better days. It's been out here for some 60 years with no maintenance. Missing rungs, rusted over. We'll basically be climbing the side brackets at some point. Just getting to the bottom rung is gonna take a jump. And also the roof is partly caved in. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. Conceptualization's got an idea, and it's... Okay, whatever was in that cigarette, I apparently think I can teleport now. Sure, why not? And Kim doesn't even blink at us saying this. Come on, let's embrace the power of positive thinking. Remember when I spoke to the city earlier? He's making an incredible effort to be patient here, but even he has limits. And you know what? That's not undoable. 42% is worth a shot, with some proper accessorizing. What the hell, let's dress for the occasion. Get rid of these shoes, much easier to teleport in boots. Put sunglasses on, because we're too cool for the laws of physics. And looks like that's about it. Moment of truth. 72%. Let's seize the means of transportation. Yeah! Just gotta concentrate, will myself to the roof, and... I am a goddamn wizard! Tequila fucking Sunset is the best at space and time! You will not diminish my triumph, Kitsuragi. I have made physics my bitch today. Pfft, who needs backup when you can cast Dimensional Door? We got this shit under control now. Yeah, you actually do want Kim for this, and you'll see why in a few minutes. For now, let's just get off this roof. As you can see, nobody's touched this place since the Coalition invaded, and there isn't actually much of the building to explore above ground. This is about all we saw from the outside, the central staircase and a whole lot of rubble. Yoink! More vendor trash, thank you very much. I'm assuming it's vendor trash, haven't seen anything to the contrary. Basement's not in great condition, but there is more of it intact. Let's get our flashlight out. We can get back up if we need to, though there's nothing else up there. There's our dance partner. The pipe outside must have led to that door. I mean, Hobocop's not going to be sure. He can't teleport and do remote viewing. That'd be crazy. Damn, that was a lot of noise. If our suspect didn't know we were coming before, she does now. Yeah, that must be if you fail the climbing check. Another way in. Alright, let's scope the place out. Not comforted by this music. It's very ominous, very showdown-y. Looks like the basement stops here, and some tunnels continue past that broken wall. Interfacing spots something. Old computer components. It's a closer look at the stuff that makes up those filament cubes. Glass slides with circuitry printed on them. Encyclopedia says modern computers use silicon-based components instead, which is odd. That would better fit the time period, but Kim mentioned the radio computer Suna uses is like the one at his station. Anyway, no sign of the project Feld was working on. Just an ominous message from Inland Empire. All you will find here is pain. We're building up to something here. Ooh, suit jacket. Nice. Let's check this tunnel out. Hello, what's this? Some kind of bunker. It's been empty for a long time. Somebody with sympathy for the revolution was down here. That guy outside did say they use this building for propaganda. Yep, here's a portrait of the man himself, Krasmazov. There have been mentions of him here and there. He's kind of a mishmash of major communist figures. Karl Marx is the obvious one, but there are shades of Lenin and Che Guevara since he launched a revolution and remained something of an icon decades later. Meanwhile, in the present, we should probably keep that Shivers check in mind, since it does mention an old man with a scope. The bunkers were all set up decades ago, defenses against the coalition invasion. Anything important was either destroyed or looted since. No sign of Ruby. Wherever she's hiding out, it's not here. Let's move on. Visual calculus considers the narrow window as a firing position. It is meant for a shooter, though I'd have thought if anything, the shot would come from the roof. I guess that'd be a bad place to steady yourself, though. Also, it's pretty clear nobody has been here recently, and that window doesn't have line of sight. It's probably pointed at the coast, given the purpose of the place. Well, that checks that off. That pretty much leaves the island, which is also kind of a long shot. Still, if you eliminate the impossible, that means it can't be Ruby, though. Then who the hell's the shooter? Why the cover-up? What do we got here? Looks like footprints. With one sole worn down. It's her. She's definitely here. Well, I don't think she's the killer. She's probably armed and might be dangerous. Gonna put on the armor we got from Gary, just in case things get complicated. Just checking some of the stuff we got. I always wanted one of these. They look comfy. Winter here is an asshole. There we go. I might be overthinking this, but better to have on and not need. Some kind of buzzing in the air. Whatever it is, it's getting louder. A generator, maybe? Pain threshold feels something. A discomfort in the air. Something's not right here. Kim doesn't notice it, but he's still inclined to be careful. He saw the footprints too, says they're recent. Yeah, as I said before, dealing with Ruby apparently marks the start of the game's final act. This is Kim telling us we should take care of any unfinished business before proceeding. We do have the option of going back and telling Joyce what we know, but I still think that's what Everard wants us to do. And maybe I'm wrong, I honestly don't know. What I'm pretty sure is that the tribunal will happen after we deal with Ruby. We've done just about everything we can, so we're good to proceed, hopefully. Savoir Faire cautions us. There's no way she didn't hear that door opening up. Right, no way but forward. Though I am gonna make a hard save here, just in case the game goes all, oh, you didn't tell Joyce? Well, now you'll never get the true ending. I don't expect it to, but Alice now has competition from the entire city of Revachol, so who the fuck knows? Hello? Any fugitives over here? Yay, money. Last chance to go buy stuff, I guess. Footprints taper off. Where the hell is she? Ah, the fuck? We're getting blasted with something. What the hell?
I know you're feeling pretty uncomfortable right now. Don't move too much or fight it. That'll just make it worse. Can't say it's a pleasure, officer. I was really hoping not to make your acquaintance. But here we are.
It's her. We just walked right into her trap. Some kind of, like, energy-based pain weapon or something. Jesus, hell, it's kicking our ass here. Volition wants us to reassert control. That seems like a terrible idea. We can't even move.
I'm using a pale latitude compressor. You and your partner have been caught in its field.
The pale emitter. The thing that Angus mentioned. She's blasting us with amped up radio waves.
Saw my equations? You've been sniffing through my lorry, right? I expected as much. Though I am a bit surprised you knew what you were looking at. A pale latitude compressor is used to sort of make the pale more manageable. With a lot of these, you can force a radio signal grid on the pale. Literally crunch the distance across it. Signals are relayed across a series of repeater stations fixed to buoys. Not a fun job manning those stations. All alone out there in the pale. People lose their minds in just a few years.
So, what we are experiencing is a concentration of radio waves.
Precisely. This is an industrial strength paraboloid. It's meant for forcing dimensions on something that doesn't have them. Needless to say, the frequencies used are out of this world. At the upper limit is the large prime number generator station. It's used specifically for pale latitude compression. That's why you might be hearing some numbers. But you might also hear, or think you're hearing, local radio chatter.
Suggestion thinks we might get an opportunity to escape if we can keep her talking.
I built it myself.
That's illegal. I'm guessing it's patented. But we are beyond that, aren't we?
Oh yeah, way beyond. No. Once I shut down the compressor, the pain will end. It may take a few minutes for you to steady yourself, though. It's a bit like walking out of a very confusing dream. Yeah, I stuck my head in there before using it on you. Seemed like the ethical thing to do. Can't say that I enjoyed it. The field was weaker, but I can imagine what you're going through. Yeah, let's not talk about that shit. You were hunting me and fell into my trap instead. That's all there is to say about it. If you've got something really important to say, you can do it through the white noise.
Damn this!
God damn it! Fine. If you really want to talk, I can dial it down. I've also got a gun, by the way.
It's a little more manageable now. She's armed, but not with a murder weapon. VC says if we can distract her, it's a short run for the emitter. We'll have to stall for time. Before we get too far into this, I want to critique the direction on Ruby's voice acting here. It feels kind of like a basic line reading, which doesn't really work for a situation like this. The actress is fine, but she doesn't sound like she's been holed up for days, ready to ambush the cops chasing her. I contrast this with the pigs, who genuinely sounded unstable and ready to shoot us if we made one false move. Like, empathy says she sounds bitter, fearing betrayal. Rhetoric says the bullet we found was her ready to commit suicide. She doesn't sound like her back was against the wall a minute ago, and that unfortunately sets the tone for this encounter. Anyway, we've got Ruby admitting to setting up the lynching, but not the killing. She expected everyone to turn on her at some point, and I have to wonder how much of this is because she fled, and how much is why she fled. Volition senses despair, knowing that we were able to get the Hardys to talk. I mean, she probably figured she herself would crack at some point. She did call us a human can opener. In spite of our predicament, she is willing to talk. By now, from my perspective, we're only pursuing her for a lack of a more obvious suspect, though the writing here doesn't really account for that, but it's still helpful to get her side of the story. Here, we're confronting her with the secret passage, which turns a bathroom break into a window of opportunity. She doesn't know about the secret passage, but more importantly, she finally brings up what I've talked about before, that nobody heard the shot from downstairs. This is a pretty big detail, and I don't know if I missed the chance to ask about that or what. I know Volition brought it up, but did I have to go back and question Claude some more? I can't tell if I just missed a signpost somewhere or we're getting railroaded into chasing Ruby no matter what. Empathy says she didn't hate the guy, though obviously there's no love lost between Wild Pines and the Union. We're lacking a clear motive, which makes me think we probably missed something in the back and forth. There is a reason to be thorough here, as Suggestion was hinting, but the only gun she uses is the one she carries. Not a fan of old military-style rifles. What might have been a case for a reasonable suspicion evaporates pretty quickly. So the antenna up on Clausier's roof let Ruby tap into RCM communications. Getting the feeling Clausier knew a thing or two about making use of it herself. She did nick the phone line to discreetly call us, you may remember. Ruby isn't really the sentimental type, or as it turns out, the revolutionary type. The flowers aren't from her. Our brains are boiling, but hey, at least we're getting experience for it. Fortunately, we were able to find her truck without leaning on Tommy. It's not much, but it is some relief. So she used to work for one of the mobs in Jamrock. Sounds like she tried to get out, taking up with the Union to get away from the killing. Coincidentally, she lowered the dial just a hair. A small but measurable difference when we make a run for the machine. But also of note is that she still seems scared of us. She doesn't draw a gun on just anybody. She doesn't even have it drawn on us. Now we get to the burning question. Who really killed the mercenary? She doesn't know, and not for lack of trying. Perception can tell she hasn't slept much, keeping her eyes and ears on what's going on since the killing. Time for her side of the story. Let's get it on the record, such as it is right now. So Ruby's with the guys and Clausier comes in all broken up. Nobody knows he's dead yet. Ruby sits down with her. here we come to a point of divergence. Clausier said Ruby knew something was wrong with her immediately, whereas the way she tells it, Ruby just thought she'd done way too much cocaine. Didn't know what was going on until she saw the body herself. I thought she was still lying to us about something, but here's where the other shoe drops. Clausier thought up the fake lynching, not Ruby. Half-Light says Ruby wasn't given up. She was framed. Like someone had flicked a switch, the party girl was gone, and all that was left was cold-blooded survival instinct. Hanging him up in the shower to fake lividity, getting the guys to go along with the lynching, it was all her. Volition says she knew exactly what she was doing. Whoever she really is, she's a professional. Hell, she said as much, and we still took her at her word about whose idea this was. Doesn't mean she's the murder suspect, again, there was no gunshot, but it does mean she was willing to throw Ruby and the boys under the bus. Then again, they all went along with it, and Ruby was perfectly willing to throw them under the bus too. Jesus fuck, this is just a parade of assholes feeding each other to the cops, none of whom actually shot the guy. What scared Ruby in particular was us. And here's where things get really complicated. Kim name-dropped La Puta Madre when we were shaking down that truck driver. Ruby calls us one of his peons, his human can opener. And that gives us a potentially fatal hit for the first time. Thankfully, we can heal ourselves in conversation. You've got a few seconds before you collapse. This is the first real physical damage from a hostile encounter we've taken. I'm sure I'd have suffered trying to fight Measurehead or whatever, but everything else has been from either smoking, failing a check, or just Hobocop's general poor health. But back on topic, that's the reason she's been so terrified of us. She thinks we work for a mob boss she's apparently running from. Apparently, so does half of Jamrock. Necktie steps in for us, says we're too crazy to be corrupt. Volition chimes in too. Knowing our name doesn't mean we're some kind of hit squad. It's possible she's taking the human can opener bit literally. The hell of it is, even if we were corrupt, there's no way to know. We actually can't remember. This could be one big misunderstanding, though who even knows. Maybe it's just another reason we ended up trying to kill ourselves. So she was running a drug smuggling operation, but for the Union directly. Small wonder Everard was trying to downplay that part of the plan. Rhetoric picks up something interesting, though. We may not have come alone. There were other cops with us, possibly the ones at the Whirling now. She calls them our death squad. She says there were 3 others. That certainly matches the obvious cops in disguise we've met, and her descriptions more or less fit the bill. Although why that one dude brought his kid to this is still baffling, unless it's about to go all Twin Peaks on us, which it still might. Logic can't remember, but Esprit de Corps knows them. Satellite Officer Vicamere and Patrol Officer Minot. It imagines him getting rid of the wig, and they name-drop Heidelstein, the guy outside. Death Squad my ass. They're here because I've made a right mess of things, and then trying to see how bad it is. Which, granted, pretty fucking bad right now. Hasn't made use of the bunker back there. And asking hurts us. We need to stop this now. We can either let her go or take out the machine. She did turn the dial down a bit. Time to make her pay for that mistake. Hobocop style, baby. You can't stop the human can opener. Come on, dude, you can do it. Not like she has time to see what you're doing and turn up the machine or draw a gun or anything. Yes! Glorious destruction of property! We're in immense pain and everything sucks right now, but we did it. Kim's alright. Let's take her in. What's it gonna be, Ruby? Ah, shit. There's her exit plan. She thinks it's game over, and those are not ideal odds. We were actually talking so long the smokes wore off, and no bonuses to help us here. We do have 1 point in reserve, and now's as good a time as any to use it. Rhetoric, it's up to you, my friend. Once more onto the breach. Nice. Alright. She thinks she's at the end of the line, and nothing we say can convince her we're not Madre's goons. There's only one option that takes her finger off the trigger. She did blast me with a death ray, but no. This won't make anything right again. Hell, maybe I am corrupt, I don't know anymore. Just go. I don't honestly know if that was the right call. But Kim does. He'd have done the same. I just don't think it was her. We need to look around some more. Ask some new questions about what the hell is going on here. Looks like she's been holed up here for a while. Well, at least we got $8 for the trouble. And health drugs, we needed those. That thing really took it out of us. Pretty miserable hiding space, really. Still, maybe she left something behind. The books, maybe? There's a small pile of them, but one of them is a notebook. Yeah, we need answers. Let's check this thing out. She's had this thing for a while. It's pretty worn down from use. The handwriting tells us a little about her. She's confident to a fault, often makes mistakes. Given how long she's had this thing, there could be a ton of data in it. Most of it coded, and not all of it relevant to our case. Something for the guys back at the station. The diagram of the compressor stands out. She's been working on this thing for a while. Also seems like she was wrestling with some personal decisions, no doubt related to getting out of the mob. The very first entry is her looking for a way out. This was back in August, so she hasn't been with the Union that long. She didn't write anything on the day of the murder, but there are regrets the day after. Logic focuses on that last line. Explains that perhaps betraying Madre was an act of self-defense. Madre isn't mentioned by name, but she makes references to M, specifically M's peon, who she thinks we are, coming on March 9th to investigate the lynching, and kill her, or so she believes. She brings up the call, might have been M personally. The context isn't clear, but presumably it's not MI6 trying to rein in a certain famous secret agent. And now my thoughts are debating whether we're actually a mob hitman, which, gonna be real here, seems unlikely. Anyway, by the 12th she's been on the lam for 3 days, growing increasingly paranoid, certain she'll be given up by the Hardys. Mostly this just explains her state of mind, how she probably linked the threatening phone call from Madre to our arrival. Well, let's check this last one. Seems she doesn't have much of a plan going forward. But here we have it in writing. She staged the lynching but didn't commit the murder herself. This whole thing was a false lead. Esprit de corps interprets, someone actually being framed is truly rare. She did commit a crime by concealing the murder, and a life on the run isn't going to be a happy one for her. Be that as it may, Kim doesn't think we're on the take, and suggests asking our partners about it. Volition sticks up for us too. Thanks, man. Still, we're running out of suspects, and places to look. It's gotta be someone we haven't met yet. But that'll be enough for this episode. I have some criticisms with this particular development, but I can't deny it's a page-turner. Hell, just in this episode, we started with a rave party, got confessed to by the city of Revachol, learned to teleport, took out a death ray. What a fucking day, man. God only knows where we go from here. But anyway, that does it for tonight. Thanks for tuning in, all. I'll see you next time.